I thank you, Mr. Chairman, for organizing this hearing, and thank you to our witnesses for their time. Following up on my friend and colleague, Mr. Bera's line of questioning, Dr. Cha, U.S. Special Representatives for North Korea Stephen Biegun, who Governor Richardson has spoken so highly of, has noted that even as the United States pursues a direct leader-to-leader format for the current talks with North Korea, it is supplementing summit-level meetings with intensive working-level negotiations. Do you think this strategy will better ensure the U.S. walks away from Hanoi with some sort of acceptable deal, agreement?
Congressman, I think what was better in process with regard to this summit was that there was a lead-up of intense, as you said,
right,
working-level negotiations that Steve Biegun led. The first summit in Singapore, as you remember, was just an announcement that they were going to meet, and there was no working-level effort. So those working-level meetings are important to help the outcome of the summit be successful.
That's not just happening at the summit. Let's be clear, Dr. Shah. It's been in the lead up to the summit in a very intensified way, from what I understand. Is that your understanding?
Yes, and that's the way it should be done. Yes.
Great, wonderful. Governor Richardson, you have spent decades working through formal and informal channels in North Korea to secure the release of American citizens held unjustly by the Kim regime. Informal exchanges, like the relationships you have built over the last several years, can be highly effective in promoting mutual understanding. How do your efforts support and intersect with official talks?
Well, I think you asked a question about Special Envoy Biegun. I think he's very effective. The
administration
consults with me. They don't listen, though.
They don't listen to me either.
But they,
they don't even talk to me.
they do. Sometimes.
I know.
My point here, Congresswoman, is I think you need, yes, presidential to president, that's good, personal relationships. But you need the staff work in preparation for that. And sometimes I wonder, because of the president's style, that doesn't happen as much as it should. I hope he's listening. I mean, we're going to find out in 2 days whether this summit is a success or not. He listens to the Envoy Biegun, to Secretary Pompeo, who's had to negotiate with the North Korean spy chief ever since the first summit or before the first summit. My worry is, and before I think you came in, I said it's better to negotiate with the foreign ministry types in North Korea rather than the intelligence people, because they're more flexible. We'll see what happens in this next summit. We're kind of hanging on for the result.
But you would agree that both formal and informal lines of communication are important, correct?
Absolutely. On prisoner exchanges, on rescuing American servicemen on remains. Yeah, I mean,
we thank you for your leadership in that.
Thank you.
In that regard, Russia and China appear to be weakening on sanctions enforcement, although U.S. negotiators are working to solidify support in advance of the Hanoi summit. Dr. Shah, how worried should we be about Chinese and Russian compliance, and how can the U.S. convince the international community to kind of hold the line?
So it is. I think it is a real problem, Congresswoman. Any agreement we make with North Korea has to be enforceable, and enforceability means also sanctioning if they violate the agreement. And China holds a lot of cards when it comes to sanctioning. I mean, I think the only way to really compel China to do this is to be willing to secondary sanction. I mean, to go after Chinese companies that are willfully and knowingly violating U.S. law. That's the only way to
so you found the secondary sanctions can be very effective.
I think they can. They certainly spread the net of who is responsible when it comes to this. I mean, China is a UN Security Council member, so they should be complying with the 11 UN Security Council resolutions with regard to North Korea, particularly on trade, but they really haven't been for about 15 months now.
Well, thank you. I think my time is about to expire, so I yield back, Mr. Chairman.